Who are these people?
We are here. We are live for episode 63 of Angel in the Afternoon. Again, I don't remember episodes that well, the numbers, so I apologize. I'm pretty sure it's 63. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So, thank you very much for joining me here in this beautiful Friday evening. And let me bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me. All right, so we're good. Welcome to this episode. It's 63. Okay. I can never remember episode numbers or anything like that. So, yeah, it's episode 63, I guess. And of Angel in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Angel Rivera, and today we'll be talking about plenty of things. And before we get started, I've been talking to Kit Cabello of Heartlands Media, and we're going to do an episode in a couple of weeks, which is August 11th. So that's a Sunday night. So it'll be our Sunday afternoon episode of Angel in the Afternoon, where we'll be previewing the Democratic National Convention. We'll be talking about all some other stuff. So look forward to that on Sunday, August 11th. So I'm just announcing it now, and I'll probably announce it again at the end. But yep, I just confirmed the date with Kit. So we'll be looking at August 11th at 7 o'clock Eastern, which is a Sunday night. So that's a date, so that's the date and that's the time. So as just wanted to announce that, and as well, and I'll be having probably some other guests on in the next few weeks, like still trying to get a date with Karen to get her on Sage. Hopefully next week. Haven't heard from her yet to confirm that, but next Friday. But if not, then definitely the week after. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her back on. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Tomorrow we're going to have Snow Himbo on and Pro Wrestling Talk. That'll be tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern. But yes, I'm pretty sure that's all the promotion I have to do. So let's get to it. By the way, like the stream, comment, join the chat, all that good stuff. Because I do need the you know, I do need the viewers, the likes, the subscriptions, like whatever you want to call this. I need it. So yeah, we're also live on Kick. We should be live on Kick. I hope so. Whoops, sorry about this. Bear with me 1 second. I have to get this done too, because we do need to start, because I have a lot to say this week. So let's just do that. Let's just do this. Oops. We should be having Alex Knight on, who's a friend of mine, and we talk Yankees and politics and stuff like that. So he should be on in a few minutes. But for now, I'm just going to get started because I don't know when. So as everybody knows, Joe Biden has formally dropped out on Sunday night. Sunday. Let me just do this. This is. I think this may be too small, but let me see. Because. Let's see. Yeah, it's way too small. I wonder if I can do it. No, it's terrible. But hey, Jacqueline, thank you for joining us. That's gonna have to be like that. Yeah, that was terrible. Um. So yeah. So Joe Biden drops out. He puts out this letter. Uh, July 21st, 2024. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. No, we haven't. Today, America is the strongest economy in the world. No, we don't. We have made historic investments in rebuilding our nation. Doesn't say what, but apparently we made those historic investments in lowering prescription drug costs for lowering prescription drug costs for seniors in expanding affordable healthcare to a record number of Americans. We have provided critically needed care to a million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in nearly 30 years, appointed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead, as we are today. I know none of this couldn't have been done without you, the American people. Together, we've overcome a once in a century pandemic, the worst economic crisis. I know you're there, Alex. Just give me a minute. Um, it's a great, I know none of this could be done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once in a century pandemic and a worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. Why did that economic crisis happen? Very simply because of the shutdowns, which Democrats were in favor of. We protected and preserved democracy. Bullshit, we don't have one. And we revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. Yeah, because you're a megalomaniac motherfucker. And while it was my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is the best interest of my party, the country, for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who worked hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. Yeah, I don't trust you. I have no faith in you. I believe today what I've always had. There's nothing that America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. So that's Joe Biden's signature, allegedly. So here's.
Yeah, what a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, thank you for being patient. I had to finish reading that letter. But yeah, it was bullshit. Any thoughts on that letter? I mean, it was.
I mean, I think it was Richard Medhurst's video when he was reading and reacting to it. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. I don't know if you've seen his video on it.
Yeah. So that was Joe Biden. So, oops. Wait.
Apparently, Joe Biden also grew a bit too.
So this is
Seen that tweet clip, right?
Yeah. Hello. Make sure you guys like and subscribe before you forget. So this is Joe Biden's initial tweet. My fellow Democrats have decided not to accept the nomination and focus all my energies and on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president. No, I don't buy that for a second. I'm sure the party bosses forced it on him because, in order for him to be the nominee, because they wanted Kamala Harris. They didn't want Joe Biden. But I digress. It has been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement to Kamala Harris to being our nominee. Our endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. So that's them, all happy, like they're best friends, which even though we know they hate each other. But let's see. So we got a bunch of Democrats tweeting and crying. So That's fun.
Mhm.
So let's get to this. We have this hack. I don't he worked for Obama, didn't he? Yeah, he's the Pod Save America guy. He works for
Yeah.
Obama, definitely. A
Isn't there
courageous.
isn't
Go
there a
ahead.
movie director with the same name? That Marvel guy? Is it the Iron Man movies?
I
Is that the same?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Obama guy, the Pod Save America guy. A courageous and selfless decision. The president did what he's done for the last 4 years. He listened to the American people and put the country's interest ahead of his own. The exact opposite of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's evil.
So like why was he so behind, and why did people want him to drop then if he did such a great job?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, by the way, if you're on my Rumble or INN Rumble, make sure you like still, and follow me there because I only have 39 followers there on Rumble. So the more I get, the better. But yeah, I mean, like they act like Joe Biden is this magnanimous leader. Here's Governor Phil Murphy of my state, New Jersey. Thank you, Mr. President, for over 50 years of service to our grateful nation. Your time in office will be remembered as one of the most successful and impactful presidencies in American history. My ass.
Of course, Kyle Kowinski calling him the best president of his lifetime.
I haven't watched much of him lately, but
but still.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. But I mean, I'm sick of his nonsense. It's been years. All right, so let's see. Mark Hamill, the Star Wars dude, I think. He says Joe Biden has a record of accomplishments unmatched by any president in our lifetime. He's restored honesty, dignity, and integrity to the office after 4 years of lies, crimes, scandals, and chaos. Thank you for your service to Mr. President. It is now our duty as patriotic Americans to elect a Democrat who will honor and further your legacy.
Just a couple things I wanted to add there. One, the best response to Mark Hamill now every time he tweets something bad is, the post, this arm being chopped off by a lightsaber, from Empire Strikes Back. And also, all it says, Trump full of lies, crime, scandal, and chaos. That applies to Biden too. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That definitely also applies to this president. So let's see. What else? Oops. Here's Glenn Jacobs.
That's gotta be Kane.
Yeah, here's Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane. If Joe Biden's not fit to run for president, he's not fit to serve as president. He needs to resign now. So that's his thoughts there. Yeah, I mean, Kane's a politician, ladies and gentlemen. He's the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. Adam Kinzinger. He's a former Republican, now Democrat. Here's the difference between a man who loves his country and one who loves himself. Joe Biden did an honorable and selfless act by stepping aside. His legacy will be among the best. Trump cares about Trump only, and the GOP is too scared to do what the Dems did. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Yeah, I mean, the reason why you did that because you're scared to death that he's going to lose to Trump.
Yeah.
So here's another hack.
Kamala ain't better either.
Nope. Snow says he's restored lies and chaos to the office, which is a correction. And Luke has turned into his bloody father, Darth. I mean, he played, I forgot. Yeah. I knew he was in Star Wars. Just forgot he played Luke Skywalker. So this hack, Chris Jackson, who's a Democrat, is a hack for the party. I hope you anti-Biden people are happy. You just forced our best president of our lifetimes off the ticket. What happens now is on you. So this is before Kamala Harris actually became the nominee, because now he's totally behind Kamala Harris. I've seen tweets recently where he's totally behind her after tweeting this out like, oh, I love Joe Biden so much. Now, a week later, fuck Joe Biden now with Kamala Harris. It's like, he's just a hack,
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, the other hack,
Oh, my
Harry
God.
Sisson. I bookmarked a shit ton of tweets, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through as many of these as I
Call
can.
Pussy Face.
This kid, Joe Biden will go down as an American hero, a selfless politician and leader who put the country before himself every single time, which is the complete opposite of Donald Trump. We, the American people, owe him our gratitude and appreciation. I don't know why I have that accent, but I'm reading
And
this.
he went on Pierce Morgan again just recently,
I
and he's
saw his.
still, yeah, or maybe he shared that video. I don't remember if he did or not, but where he still thinks Biden was in good shape, but Pierce was still explaining, hey, why is he all walking and talking like a mess and all that stuff? But Harry's still saying no, he's all good.
Even after Joe Biden's dropped out, I mean, he could be honest now. He's not. He's supposed to be supporting Kamala, but
But I think
why did we?
what was most hilarious. I don't know if you have the tweet saved, but even Jamal Bowman, who was kicked out by the Democrats, still thinks he's in D.C. because he's all behind Kamala right now, and all the people replying to him,
Yes.
you can be serious now. The Dems kicked you out.
Yeah, no. I love how this kid was outed as a literal paid DNC shill, and he still keeps going. He doesn't care. I mean, the checks keep coming in. He'll definitely keep taking the money, Snow. So he doesn't give a shit. The checks are coming in. I'll be the biggest hack in the world. So this is Jasmine Crockett. She's the congresswoman. She's a congresswoman. I think from somewhere. Definitely, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Will we
I hope.
highlight her profile? Maybe it'll say.
Let me say, Congresswoman Texas 30. Okay, she's from Texas.
Wow, look at that! Look at that! Progressive. It says progressive.
Civil rights criminal attorney, progressive, former state rep for HC 100, DST 1913. She, her. So it has the pronouns there, of course. So she says, I hope the geniuses who pushed out the most consequential president of our lifetime out have a plan, which is Kamala Harris, who she endorsed too, by the way.
Yeah.
Who in the hell couldn't sell the MF accomplishment and win over a 34-time convicted felon who isn't even allowed to operate businesses in the state of New York, and therefore should automatically disqualified from running the country. Excuse me. His entire team is Project 2025. They're obsessed with this policy paper that the Heritage Foundation put out, which is all it is, a policy paper.
It's no different than the Democrats.
Yeah, it's a policy paper. The Center for American Progress, which is like a liberal Democrat think tank, they put out policy papers all the time.
Yeah.
I know one thing. I will only work for Kamala Harris. If there's any other, enjoy the campaign season. I hope all my disenchanted colleagues will be able to find some walking shoes and get to work, because I will not. Full stop. Turns out it was Kamala Harris, and she's totally behind her. So This is before Kamala is confirmed being the nominee. Let's see.
But of course, also remember AOC was saying, don't push out Biden. People don't like Kamala and all that stuff. And now she's endorsing Kamala.
Well, of course, because the entire party.
Go
ahead.
No, I'm just saying, just because it's funny. Like, she won't even, she doesn't think people will call her out for her hypocrisy. It's just like.
AOC humiliated herself.
And then she responded to that guy saying, maybe you should think harder, that tweet, which was really stupid.
Which she humiliated herself. I think the day before Joe Biden dropped out.
Yeah.
She was right there talking about how she endorses Joe Biden. Joe, the only one that can beat Donald Trump. And all of a sudden the next day Joe's out, Kamala's in, and she immediately endorses Kamala. It's like, wait, what happened just 24 hours ago? Shouldn't you be consistent and go like, I don't think Kamala can win. That's why we should have stuck with Joe. Be honest, but you have to endorse, or else then you get kicked out. You'll get excommunicated from the party, because it's like a cult. So this is JoJo from Jersey. She's a hack too. Mom, Jersey, Dem, News Junkie, Lebanese, a hothead of a blah. Is like, okay, let's do this thing. Time to get on board with Kamala Bus. This is before Kamala's confirmed the nominee. Immediately, she just jumped over Kamala. I'm 100% behind my vice president. I would do whatever it takes to help her defeat Donald Trump, whatever it takes. So I could be crude here, but I'm not because I'm on YouTube and probably that's all everybody's. So this is Harry later in the day, July 21st. I fully endorse Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democrat nominee, and the next president of the United States. Let's get to work and beat Donald Trump. This, even though the day before I think when, like you said, he went on Piers, and I saw that first appearance. Like, no, only Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just recently, like a couple days ago, he went on Piers Morgan again, and he was still.
I didn't see that one yet.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one yet.
He was with that former wrestler. I don't remember his name, but he goes on Fox News. I think he
right. I know you're talking about Tyrus.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, he was Brodus Clay in WWE, and then so he's recently retired from wrestling. Yeah. He's not doing political commentary full time, which I don't agree with most of what he has to say, but at least he's not wrestling anymore. Because I digress. His matches were awful, but I'm just not a wrestling show. But Emma Vigeland, of course, Sam Cedar's lackey, she says Biden endorses Kamala Harris. It's the right move. An open convention would be chaotic and distracting in a time Democrats need to zero in on Trump. Harris says all the campaign party infrastructure and funds is also the most democratic choice. Millions voted for this ticket. Nobody voted for Kamala Harris, woman. They all voted for Joe Biden.
If this isn't proof that that Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, and the majority of poor people, that if this isn't proof that they aren't progressives and leftists, then I don't know what is.
Emma Vigeland is just her parents. I'm pretty sure I was reading about her parents. She's very wealthy, and I think her dad or mother,
Kirsten Gillibrand, I believe.
Yeah, one of her parents worked in the Clinton administration too, but I could be wrong on that. Unless
they call Jimmy Dore grifter, all those names, when they're the ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all. It's just hypocrisy or projection. But Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, says President Biden's been an extraordinary, history-making president, a leader who has fought hard for working people and delivered astonishing results for the American people. He will go down in history as one of the most impactful and selfless presidents. Thank you, Joe Biden. We're going to see all this gaslighting about Joe Biden and how great Kamala Harris is.
They never mention his policies either, which is
no. It's very cult-like. Yeah. It's very, very cult-like over there. It's like on the Democrat side. And don't be wrong, Republicans are the same too. If you saw the Republican convention, when all these Republican conservatives have that ear patch the way Trump did on his ear, it's ridiculous. They're both very both parties are very cultish. But Democrats
are to answer Jacqueline's question. No, it's not Emma Vigeland. It's the one who works there. Her first name is Emily. I don't remember her last name though.
Emily Zazinski or something like that.
Whatever her name is.
Emily Zazinski. Her and Ryan Grimm worked at the Hill, and Crystal Ball hired them away, both of them, to work on.
Doesn't Jordan Charrington work with Breaking Points as well now?
Who?
Jordan Charrington.
Jordan, I think so. Yeah, I think he's their reporter or something.
Yeah. Jordan
Sheridan. Yeah, he's their reporter or something. He does original news for them, even though I never see him on the network. Actually, I don't watch the network, to be fair. No, that's Emma Vigeland, Jacqueline, on the Majority Report. She's Sam Cedar's lackey.
Yeah.
So Scott Dworkin, who's another hack, co-founder of the Dem Coalition, says President Biden deserved better. And John Pavlovich, same thing. Joe Biden deserved better.
Do you have a Bernie's tweet supporting?
I don't. I mean, I should. I have. There's so many tweets. I couldn't really bookmark them all. But let's see. Brian Krasenstein, of the Krasenstein brothers. Joe Biden endorses Kamala Harris as the nominee for the Democratic Party as he drops out. Guess what, MAGA? Hunter Biden's doesn't matter. The laptop doesn't matter. Ashley Biden doesn't matter. Biden age doesn't matter. Biden's brother doesn't matter. Get ready for Republicans to tell all Democrats how unfair it is our elected nominee but that our elected nominee isn't our elected nominee. Guess what? You are the ones that pretend to care about that, not us. So
I
vote
think
Kamala
someone should
Harris.
tell him that none of us elected Kamala as the next candidate. It was the DNC who chose her immediately after Biden Biden decided not to run again. Someone should let him know that. You know.
Yeah, and all this stuff, the Hunter Biden laptop, Ashley Biden's age, Biden's brother, Kamala Harris has her baggage too. First of all, she's in the
Look
Biden
at
administration.
Tulsi Gabbard destroying her in that debate. That's all you need
Yeah,
to see.
Tulsi Gabbard ended her political career right there. The only reason why she became vice president was because the party forced them on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, or because they wanted her no matter what. So, all right. So let's see. She has all her own baggage.
Yeah.
She's in the
I just
Biden
want to say one more
administration.
thing. You know, it'd be funny if if like for GTA 6 they made a parody of Biden, like they had some guy talking, you know, like having dementia or something like that, and it'd be like, anyways, you know.
Yeah, so she has all her own baggage. She has to carry the Biden administration's baggage because she wants the veneer of the incumbency. So she wants people to, she's representing the administration. So okay, fine. So I'm going to put all of Biden's horrible policies on you because you're running to replace Biden. So fine. She has to deal with all of Biden's baggage. She also has her own baggage from when she was in California. When she was an attorney general, when she worked at the she was appointed to some medical board by Willie Brown, the former mayor of San Francisco, and all that other baggage that she has. And yes, Biden is definitely pedo. So that is after all the creepy stuff he did with Ashley. That's why he mentioned Ashley Biden because
don't forget Tara Reid.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah, that's another big one. Yeah, Tara Reid. So he didn't mention Tara Reid, but yeah, he's admitting that Biden probably did all this stuff, but he's not the nominee now, so it doesn't matter. Nah. That's basically what he's saying. So this is Joe Biden, Joe's wife, Hart, whatever.
But I thought Joe did such a great job and answered all the questions.
Yes, he did, but it's not good enough because he was losing to Donald Trump, who is the devil incarnate, according to Democrats. Alexander Vidman, this is the dude who snitched on Donald Trump on the Ukraine thing, which led to his first impeachment.
Yeah,
Donald Trump is
another thing. Now they're saying Trump is too old when they support Biden. I'm like, what the fuck?
They're flipping their talking points now.
It's so. Oh my god, I can't believe this.
Donald Trump is too old to run for president, especially when it's unclear he is healthy enough to serve a 4-year term, which is the exact talking points that a lot of us use against Biden. Now they're flipping it on Trump, even though there's no indication that Trump is sick or dying or anything like that. So unlike with Joe Biden, they're flipping. We're gonna see a lot of gaslighting, a lot of flipping of talking points. We're going to see a lot of disingenuous commentary, hypocrisy. We're going to see all that now in the next 2.5 months. That's what we got to look forward on X. Mm-hmm. So Alex Cole says this is a progressive.
Oh Democrat. My God, another one. Another progressive.
There's so many of these fucking partisan hacks on X. I would love for Trump to be defeated by a black woman, except that she's not black.
Why does he got to use race now?
They always do. That's all they got. But she's not actually black. She's Indian American and Jamaican. She's not actually black. But let's not let facts get away with a good story. Sophia Bush. I don't know who this is.
I don't know who she
is. Some kind of podcaster and whatever. Thank you for a lifetime of service to us.
She has 1.1 million views when nobody knows her.
I don't know who she is. I mean, it says she's from Saga, some kind of podcast she hosts, whatever. Many U.S. voters can't spell revolution. Nope, I mean revolution. That's anathema. I butchered that word, but most Americans don't know what that means. It's kind of funny how MAGA never shut the fuck up about his age, and now they're getting it back. Well, yeah, it is pretty funny when you think, but yeah, I mean, it is pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, it's just hypocrisy from Democrats. All these MFers are just as fake Dems. Yeah, I mean, they're all They're all just hacks. They all get paid, most likely. We got Joe again. She says, we all know how terrified Donald woman. Let me try it again. Donald Trump is a strong woman, so this should be fun. Which strong women is Trump scared of? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Reminder who he defeated again in 2016?
Some woman named Hillary Clinton, but apparently,
Hillary.
yeah,
That's right. Oh,
yeah, but somehow Donald Trump is scared of strong women. Whatever, that's good. Hello, Nick. Thank you for joining us, Nick Riviera, Doctor. Make sure you follow. Make sure you like. Fred Edwards says Afeni called it black girl magic and said it wasn't going to work to make Kakala black. Yeah, I mean, Afeni's great, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. She's not popular with black voters,
No.
and the reason
She's not
why
popular at all.
no, she barely had 1% in 2020 when she ran,
and
it's like
Iowa either.
She humiliated herself, and actually Tulsi Gabbard humiliated her, and then right after that,
and then Kamala wasn't the same after that.
No, she was done.
Or
Her
Kamala.
political
We got to pronounce
What's-
her name correctly.
Kamala. I'm still kind of confused about how to pronounce her name.
Kamala, I support is that wrestler, you know.
I was thinking of him too, but you brought it up, so I was like, that's pretty. Kamala, yeah, he was great as his character. Let's see. Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, says President Biden is a great public servant who knows better than anyone what it takes to defeat Donald Trump. His remarkable work to lower prescription drug prices for 10 drugs, fix the damn roads, which he didn't do, bring supply chains home, which he didn't do either, address climate change, which he didn't do either, and ensure America's global leadership over decades will go down in history. My job in this election will remain the same, doing everything I can to elect Democrats and stop Donald Trump, who's the devil incarnate. A convicted felon whose agenda of raising family costs, banning abortion nationwide, and abusing the power of the White House to settle his own scores is completely wrong for Michigan. Standard politician talk.
Someone want to remind Biden and Harris what happened with Roe v. Wade when they were in office.
It was overturned.
Yeah. And they weren't doing anything about it. They never codified Roe v. Wade when they had years and years to do it. They never.
And then they want to
ask that question. Like they had years and years to codify Roe v. Wade, and they never did it. Shouldn't that make them scratch their head as to why that never happened?
Nope. So Dr. Mamala, I mean, I covered her appearance on the Drew Barrymore show. Oh my God. I mean, that was one of those brutal things I ever watched. She was literally like this close to Kamala. And she was like, the country needs you to be our Mamala. Yeah. And even Kamala had this look on her face like, what the fuck is wrong with this woman, man? Even though she's totally sucking up to Kamala. But it's like, she's like, come on, this is so cringe. It's like, I will do everything I can to help America. That's all she said. Something stupid like that. It was so cringe. Yeah. Jared Moskowitz, he's a congressman. I hereby endorse Kamala Harris. That's the tweet. Of course, they're all
brave and stunning. That's
very brave. Bakari Sellers of CNN. I think he's CNN. Yeah. He says Democrats should be embarrassed by the way President Biden was treated by his own colleagues in the last month. By the way, he also endorsed Kamala Harris. This is before this, but
Nina Turner supported him too.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. All these people are just embarrassing. He's one of the most transformative presidents of the generation. That fight is over. I dare not wage into another. Kamala Harris is battle-tested and ready. I look forward to working damn hard to make her the next president of the United States. She has almost no chance of winning, but I digress.
Oh, God.
David Hogg. This is the kid who survived the Parkland shooting, right?
I don't know
in 2017.
He was part of it, but I don't know if he was part of that shooting, but I mean, obviously he was the one who was calling out on it. You know, that's how I know.
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember if he was in that shooting and he survived it and then started talking about it, or it was the other way around. But
I don't remember hearing anything about that. All I remember hearing was just he was speaking a lot about it.
yeah. He's going to say, thank you, President Biden, for being such a staunch supporter of gun reform. Except he passed nothing and he did nothing about guns. From the creation of the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which is a meaningless office, to the passing of the first federal gun law in 30 years, which I think it was that is it? I don't remember what gun law he passed. He keeps saying he passed the gun law.
No.
You have made history and saved lives.
As Jimmy Dore would spawn.
It's just absurd. Let's see. So I don't know who did. I just started bookmarking tweets. Author World in My Eyes, Imposters, blah, 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 blah. Some star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I have no idea who he is though. Joe Biden was a great president who inherited a disastrous post-pandemic situation and made the American economy the envy of the world.
No.
Fact.
No, that's not a fact.
His withdrawal, maybe, just maybe, we can beat the evil Trump poses to democracy, the environment, our country, and our planet.
He needs to explain why Biden got COVID 3 times then.
Yeah, he got COVID again right before he dropped out.
Yeah.
I smoked J.D. Vance's couch. What the fuck?
Okay.
Yeah, this apparently there's an obsession of liberals who claim that J.D. Vance had sex with his couch. I don't know where that came from or how that came from. Even the media started asking him about it, and he was denying it. It's just absurd. Like, even if he did, who cares? It's like immature teenagers here. Yeah. Biden dropping out of the race. It's time to get behind the vice president, Kamala Harris, of course. Meghan McCain says politics is just a brutal fucking blood sport. Yes.
The first decent tweet we've come across from her.
Yeah. That's Katrina Vanden Heuvel says Kamala Harris for President Kamala.
What?
So what
does that mean?
I don't know. This is I think part of our article, but I'm not going to read the whole article. Harris is the candidate best placed for lead the Democrats to victory, not just at the top of the ticket, but also in House and Senate races. That would be crucial delivering the changes this country so desperately needs. Medicare for all. She didn't even. Harris not even campaigning on that.
No.
I'm gonna play her ad later on, and she says make healthcare more affordable. She doesn't say Medicare for all. Which she endorsed in 2017. Yeah, because she was running for president. And then she backpedaled immediately. Restoring a woman's right to choose, except that she was vice president when Roe versus Wade was overturned, as you said. So that's ridiculous. Securing the right to vote and the right to join a union. Kamala Harris is not in favor of unions, so you're just making stuff up again. Adequate funding for child care and parental leave. None of that will ever pass Congress. A path to citizenship for millions of immigrants currently living in fear. Bold action to address climate change. Harris was early backer of the Green New Deal, again, because she's running for president.
Early backer and then, backed off.
And she immediately backpedaled. Rebalancing the Supreme Court and a fresh approach to the stalemate in Ukraine and the slaughter in Gaza. She'll change nothing.
Tone-deaf response like ever.
Yeah, she'll change nothing and like it. And Democrats will like it because they're trained to like it. Joe endorses Kamala. I can't keep up. Good. Dem needs to unify and fight Trump. That's Mehdi Hassan, formerly MSNBC. We got Senator Dick Durbin here. Throughout his public career, Joe Biden always put country first. No, he didn't. In his 4 years as president, made it clear that he was determined to put our country back on track and restore the soul of our nation, whatever that means. America will forever be grateful for all he has given to this country.
So how come he cared more about Ukraine and Israel then?
He's a freaking idiot.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
JD is a rich
Biden
pedo. No. Yeah, man. All these powerful brokers are just, they don't care about any of us. They just care about their own power. Maxwell Alejandro Frost, this is the kid who ran for Congress in Florida and won, I think, a couple of years ago. the most progressive and one of the most effective presidents in our country history, the president to do the most on ending gun violence, defeating the climate crisis, and protecting working people. I have a lot more to say. For now, I'll just say thank you, Joe Biden.
I still can't believe how fast the progressive movement died from 2015 to 2020. I still can't believe that. And now everybody's just using progressive for everything. It's just
Because they are all just Democrats ultimately. They're not really progressive. I mean, they're not, they're not they're not the left wing, they're just progressive Democrats ultimately. And they're all just that. Even the most recent Maxwell Alejandro Frost and AOC and Jamal Bowman, who just lost,
yeah.
Rashida, they're all just that. They're all just Democrats. So let's see. Brian Callas, he's an associate professor of global politics at UCL, researcher at Oxford, author of Flu, blah blah blah. He's important. He thinks is an important person. The odds that Trump will lose in November just went up significantly. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And Biden's legacy as a statesman who had defended democracy rather himself is now cemented, which is again bullshit. It's just gaslighting, because when the Democrats decided to go with Kamala Harris, they have less of a chance to win now than before, because Joe Biden had the advantage of incumbency. They all, a lot of Americans don't like to make change once they elect a president unless his incredible circumstances like COVID or like something like that. Trump nearly got reelected even back in 2020. It took like 30,000 votes in like 4 different states.
Blown away Trump in 2020. I mean, he won, but it wasn't by a lot.
No, it was 30,000 votes in 3 states. Really, it came down to.
Yeah.
It came down to very few votes in 3 states. And they act like he blew down Trump out of the water and, he had a mandate. He really didn't. Abby Phillip from CNN says, Biden endorses Harris for nomination. Okay, yeah, it's just your standard tweet. Donald Trump responds to Joe Biden announcement that he's dropping out. So let's read this. Crooked Joe Biden. I can't do Trump's accent, so I'm not going to do it. Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and certainly not fit to serve and never was. He only attained the position of president by lies, fake news, and not leaving his basement. All those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he was not capable of being president, and he wasn't. Now look at what he's done to our country, with millions of people coming across our borders, totally unchecked and unvetted, many from prisons, mental institutions, and record number of terrorists. We will suffer greatly because of his presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very, very quickly. Make America great again.
How funny is it that his post sounds more truthful than the others we just saw?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's what it is, All right, let's see. Who else? John Cooper says Joe Biden's out of the race. He will go down one of the greatest presidents of my lifetime. It's the same old gaslighting. S.E. Cup says, thank you, Mr. President, for doing the right thing.
It's that noise in the background.
That's me. I mean, this kid's probably playing outside. There's not much I can do about that, but we'll deal with it. Joe Manchin is on Face the Nation. Garrison Hayes says, Joe Manchin on Face the Nation, calling for an open primary, bypassing VP Harris. This isn't about race or gender. That's how you lose Democrats like me. So Manchin's trying to weasel his way into the nomination, which didn't work because basically everybody backed Harris and ignored him. Tristan Snell, who's an MSNBC contributor, of course, another Democrat. Breaking, Joe Biden is no longer running for re-election. Now everyone who pushed for this can apply equal pressure to Trump, who's 78-year-old convicted felons who ramble slur words, confuse his name, and go on strange tangents and drop out too.
So did Biden. They never said anything about him.
At the time, they were all saying that age is just a number and Biden was doing fine. Now he drops out, and now they're on the age talking point about
Trump. I know. It's so baffling that oh God, Andrew Yang. Unbelievable.
They're all I mean, I'm just reading this stuff, but this de-sucking contest is making me want to puke. They're all just for doing fellatio to Joe Biden.
You know,
I'm
I
gonna
have
say it
that.
like that.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I'll wait.
Go ahead. Yeah. I'm
Oh,
here.
there's that clip I've shared before. You may have seen it, to where Jimmy Dore, played, when he had Andrew Yang on the show when he was running. He was like, "I just can't wait to see you burning Elizabeth Warren, telling people to vote for Joe Biden." And Andrew Yang was like, "It's not going to come to that, Jimmy. It's not going to come to that." And then he did come to that.
Andrew Yang says, "Thank you, Joe." Whatever. Anna Navarro says, "Thank you for everything, Joe Biden." Let's see.
Doesn't he? She kind of doesn't Anna kind of remind you of Vicky Guerrero? I guess.
Yeah, she does. Anna Navarro kind of like she looks like her too a little bit.
Well, not just
John,
the look, but it's more the fact how she talks and like,
yeah,
don't do this, don't do that,
John Lovett, who says a former presidential speechwriter. I guess he worked for Obama too. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, let's fucking go and lose again. Woohoo!
They're gonna lose. I mean, I'm almost positive they're gonna lose this election. Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor of Georgia and basically weaponized race against that, and she says throughout his career, Joe Biden has shown resilience and a deep belief in power of unity and democracy. His steadfast stewardship will continue to inspire us as we move forward to build a better America. Now more than ever, we must not only unite to ensure Donald Trump does not return to the White House, we must champion a vibrant vision for our next American chapter. It's our responsibility to lift every voice and pick up the mantle, then fight for justice, equality, and democracy. Let's rally together and show the world our resilience to our democracy. Together, we shall build a better future for all. And this all sounds like Barack Obama in 2008.
I just want to point out a couple things. Again, not talking about policies and all that stuff. And two, I'll still never forget that moment when Biden invited her on MSNBC. We were all wondering why was she inviting her on MSNBC because she was going to be his VP, but then he didn't, and then you saw that look on her face, like
it was her Biden do that to her was just fucked up. I mean, even though I don't like her, but it's like she's like that look on her face, like, oh, you're just going to blow smoke up my ass. Yeah. Okay. That's basically what he did. You're great and all this stuff, but ultimately the party bosses don't want you. They want Kamala Harris. So I'm just gonna pick her. Who's Naomi Biden? I guess sister, daughter, granddaughter, Columbia Law. I guess she's related to Joe Biden. I'm nothing but proud today of my pop. Yeah, he related to Biden. I guess this is granddaughter. Our president Joe Biden, who has served our country with every bit of his soul and unmatched distinction, not only has been and will continue to be the most effective president of our lifetime, more gaslighting, but he has likely already cemented himself as the most effective and impactful public servant in our nation's history. More gaslighting. He has been in the center of and had material impact on literally every single issue our country's and world has faced in the last 50 years. And made every single one of them worse. Our world is better today in so many ways thanks to him. Not true. The Americans always had his back. Keep the faith. He will always have ours. Blah, blah, blah. Look, not going to criticize her too much.
I'll be back in just a second.
Okay. I'm not going to criticize her too much. That's his granddaughter. She's going to, be on his side no matter what. But, yeah, I mean, what she said is just more gaslighting bullshit, though. Joe Biden has earned this. Pete Buttigieg says Joe Biden has earned his place among. Pete Buttigieg says Joe Biden's earned his place among the best and most consequential presidents in American history. I am so proud to serve under his leadership and thankful for his unwavering focus on what is best for our country. Don't be surprised if Pete Buttigieg ends up being the VP for Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Because
hey, we got a black woman and a gay man. That's the team.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be even more gaslighting because it's the first ever black woman president and the first ever gay vice president. You have to vote for this ticket.
Nobody cares about that shit.
That's all they got. Aaron Parnas, I guess the hack, and I don't. He graduated from George Washington Law. He's a hack. Joe Biden was the first president I ever voted for. He was the reason I am a Democrat today. With today's decision, he once again put our nation first. As a young American, I am motivated to defeat Donald Trump. That starts with nominating Vice President Kamala Harris.
How old is he?
He has to be in his early 20s.
You never voted for Obama?
He has to be in his early 20s. So by the time he turned 18, the first election was Trump, I'm assuming. But by that logic, I should be a Democrat because my first election, John Kerry won for president in 2004. Yeah. So that logic doesn't make much sense. This is Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, not the actual Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Kamala Harris is our candidate. Period. Full stop. Done. We're gonna have a female president. Kamala will finish Hillary Clinton's job.
I forget the wrestler's name, but as he would say, well, I'm afraid I got some bad news.
Bad news Barrett, Wade Barrett. Yeah, I mean, that's what he's referring to. I'm afraid I got some bad news. That's more Alex Cole. I mean, I bookmarked so many tweets, I don't even remember now. The only reason why Trump is still running for president is to save his ass. The only reason President Biden is still running is to save our democracy. It's before he dropped out.
What? Still running? What?
Yeah, I mean, this is before, he dropped out, but he totally behind Kamala Harris. I'm devastated, heartbroken, and angry. I have the utmost respect for the lifetime of service of President Biden given to our country. He didn't deserve this. However, we cannot capitulate now. The fight to protect our democracy from the existential threat of Trumpism continues. Democracy doesn't defend itself. If we want this great American experiment to continue on, we must be resolute, disciplined, and unwavering in our commitment to defeat Donald Trump. Together we can win is up to us. It's the same rhetoric we always heard from these people. Boom! This Kamala Harris ad from 2020 slamming Trump is going viral right now. It still applies to that she is the right person for the job. Except that's not what you were saying a week ago, kid. But, No. This is their ad from when she ran for president in 2020.
Sick of this? Well, think about this. He's a world leader in temper tantrums. She never loses her cool. She prosecuted sex predators. He is one.
Grab him by the...
She shut down for-profit colleges that swindled Americans. He was a for-profit college.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Literally. He's owned by the big banks.
Oh, and you're not Kamala? Come on. I mean, that's a mistake. That's a terrible mistake.
The attorney general who beat the biggest banks in America and forced them to pay homeowners $18 billion. He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together. This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump. So if that's what you're looking for in your next president, there's really only one. Kamala.
What a horrible ad.
Kamala Harris for the people. Governor Pierluisi. This is the governor of Puerto Rico, by the way, the Democratic governor. So he put out a long statement. On behalf of the people of Puerto Rico, I thank POTUS for his exemplary public service and always doing what's best to treat all Puerto Ricans as their fellow American citizens, which is bullshit. Again, I'm sorry, I can't. Puerto Rico has been completely decimated by mostly Democratic policies. And don't get me wrong, Republicans are not innocent either, but lately, it's been Democrats. Obama passed the PROMESA Act, which basically allows for a board of directors to control Puerto Rico. And they've been doing nothing but austerity and cutting taxes for the rich, and they've been selling off public utilities. And now we get constant blackouts in Puerto Rico, and we get all these other electrical issues which can't be fixed because the private companies don't want to fix them. And they're not, since Puerto Rico is not a state, nothing really we can do about it. So yeah, I can digress on that all day long, but it's just infuriating when the governor of Puerto Rico acts like Joe Biden is just this great leader. What President Biden has done for Puerto Rico in his time in his office has been extraordinary. What did he do for Puerto Rico? He doesn't say one thing, by the way. From ensuring the island's full recovery from the impact of past natural disasters and the pandemic, giving our citizens full access to the federal child tax credit program. That's the least he could have done, and allowing us to benefit from historic legislation to improve the nation's infrastructure and deal with climate change. President Biden has always been the best friend that the people of Puerto Rico could have. And not last but not least, President Biden has the full supported congressional legislation for the end of Puerto Rico's current colonial status. My constituents and I will always respect, admire, and be grateful for President Biden. Except that he did nothing.
All those people that have been saying, "Oh, Joe Biden was so great for us," I was like, I mean, do you ever wonder why he was losing to Trump?
No, they're just this is just gaslighting and fellatio to make the president feel better. And by the way, just because he supported legislation to make Puerto Rico a state, Joe Biden didn't do anything to actually try to make Puerto Rico a state after that initial support. Like, oh yeah, we should make Puerto Rico a state. Would it actually do anything about it? No, I'm just virtue signaling. That's all I'm doing. I don't really care about Puerto Rico. Fucking pricks. Tristan Snell breaking Biden endorses Harris, make it official. Now happen, blah blah. Bring back your "I am with her" shirt from 2016. We're not going to let
Kamala. Yeah, that works so well, right?
We're not going to let them do to Kamala what they did to Hillary. That's not up to you. That's up to the voters, and they voted for Trump over Hillary for a reason. Hillary Clinton was so horrifyingly bad that the American people rather elect a game show host than her. That's how bad she was as a candidate. But yeah, let's just act like he's basically implying about the Russians. The Russians did it. Not Hillary Clinton could have never lost to Donald Trump. Fareed Zakaria, CNN, says history is being made. A rare political leader who gives up power. Except that he didn't, and the only reason why he dropped out because the party forced him to. Yeah. Because they thought he would lose to Trump, even though their best chance was with Joe Biden, because he's the incumbent and he was, and a lot of the party, were backing him anyways. Let's see, more of Aaron here. The contrast in this election is clear. Democrats are going to nominate a former prosecutor. Republicans have nominated a convicted felon. It's time to elect Kamala Harris.
Somebody by the way, Aaron, who she prosecuted.
Here's the thing. Don't bring up her past as a prosecutor. Most Americans don't like police or prosecutors. That's a terrible thing to say. It's like Republicans have nominated a convicted felon. I mean, who cares? I mean, nobody cares. And that's why Donald Trump is leading in most of the polls. Because this convicted felon rhetoric is not working. It's just not. He's leading in most of the polls, even now. Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. This is an MSNBC clip. How long is it? Okay, I mean,
I want to read a little bit from a phone call that our own Garrett Haake had with former President Donald Trump. He told Garrett, Joe Biden is the worst president in the history of the United States by far. There has never been a president who has done such damage to our country, from energy independence to letting in millions and millions of illegal immigrants. Again, this is Donald Trump speaking to Garrett Haake. We'll fix what he has done, he said. And when Garrett asked him if he was surprised by the announcement that Joe Biden would be stepping aside in this campaign, he said he should have never been there in the first place. He should have stayed in his basement. I want to read.
He should have stayed. But yeah, I mean, that's just Trumpian for you.
Yeah, we got to hear from this guy.
Statement from President Clinton and Secretary Clinton. So this is not long. President Biden has capped his extraordinary career service with the president out of an unprecedented pandemic, created millions of jobs. It rebuilds a battered economy, strengthen our democracy, restored standing in the world. By any measures, advance the founder's charge to build a more perfect union and his own stated goal of restoring the soul of our nation. I don't know what that means to this day. We join millions of Americans in thanking President Biden for all he has accomplished, for standing up for America time and time again, whatever that means. With his North Star always being what's best for the country. I don't know what that means either. We are honored to join President in endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris and doing whatever we can to support her. We have lived through many ups and downs, but nothing has made us more worried for our country than the threat posed by a second Trump term. He has promised to be a dictator on day one. The recent ruling by his servile
Oh, what just happened? Okay. Any of you guys know what just happened? I guess I'll wait and see if he comes back. Oh. Yeah, I was wondering what happened.
Yeah, I was gone. Timed out.
Oh,
Not really
okay.
timed out, but it was one of those things where my internet went down briefly.
Yeah.
So I'm back. That's why it's whoops. I knew once it said disconnecting. It's we need. It's nope, we're screwed. All right, so yeah, so sorry about that. I'm back though. Rachel Maddow reacts to President Biden withdrawing from the presidential race. Oops. No. Okay, here we go. What a man, what a patriot, what a selfless act of devotion to your country.
Fuck her.
I mean, this is history writ large. We'll all remember where we were and what we were doing at this moment. And just thinking about the president right now, what a man, what a patriot, what an act of selfless devotion to your country. And he has been a phenomenal president. He brought us back from COVID. He, gave us the best recovery from COVID of any major nation on earth at a time when the world has economically been struggling in the wake of COVID. The Biden economy is literally the envy of the world. He ended the presidency.
How? It's just the same gaslighting talking points over and over again. It's let's see, just wanted to acknowledge something here in the chat. I'm pretty cheap and right now, so I'm using a hotspot, which is $10 a month. So I will cut out sometimes, but I'll be right back immediately. So that's why I cut out occasionally. So yeah, I just wanted to address that real quick. But why did I'm so sick of this gaslighting. It's the same thing over and over again. The world, the economy is the envy of the rest of the world. I'm sure not. I'm sure it isn't. The rest of the world is
for them. For people like her.
Yeah, that's the thing. The PMC class, they love Joe Biden. They cannot. They were just completely behind him. They're all just wealthy and the economy is great, because all the government numbers say so, and my bank account's fine, so it must be great, right? That's her attitude. Oops, I just messed up. Bear with me 1 second while I try to get this back. Okay, here we go.
This is just, and he did it while being decent and civil and honorable and normal and occasionally boring at a time when boring was absolutely what we needed. And I just, his career of decades in public.
So he's admitting that Trump is boring. Biden's boring. It's we needed boring right now because, we were tired of Trump. So yes, boring.
Service as a senator and as a very successful vice president and as a phenomenally successful president. There is no single thing that he has done in that entire career that is a greater or more consequential act of service and sacrifice to this country than what he has done today. And I cannot, knowing him a little bit, knowing his personality, having spoken to him, a number of times in my life, both in sort of official and unofficial capacities, I cannot see anywhere in his personality where this decision today was possible. This is the opposite of something that is natural or easy for him. He is just not built to do something like this because his superpower is being underestimated. And that's why he's been so resolute in resisting all these calls for him to drop out. But him making this decision today is to give the country a chance, a reasonable chance at not putting Donald Trump back in the White House, not putting a president back in the White House who refused to leave the last time and summoned an angry mob to try to overthrow the guy.
Except that he did leave, and he didn't do that. So what is he talking about? He didn't leave. He did leave.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sick
don't
of it.
understand. He did leave.
Let's see. Let's acknowledge David here. He says, if you listen to Rachel Maddow 1 year, Netanyahu, and the other year at the same time, your brain will die.
Yeah, no shit.
I would believe that. Jackie said, honestly, all Biden has done is withdraw from the race. Anyone would think he had died or something. That his dying limited for a privileged few. I mean, it's just ridiculous. All right, let's see. Back to Alex here. Now's the time for everybody to get behind Kamala Harris. We have a democracy to save. President Biden's made his decision. We have to respect that. This election is more important than ever. Jason Morgan, some kind of conservative, I guess. Our president just announced his coup with a tweet. Couldn't even go on TV. So some conservatives are claiming that the Democrats couped Joe Biden and forced him out, which, I don't. And Aaron Mate, which finally we get some logic here. If we value human life, he would have been forced out for enabling Israel's mass murder, starvation campaign in Gaza, not to mention provoking and prolonging a proxy war against Russia and Ukraine that has cost hundreds of thousands of lives. But we only value money, and his money faction decided he was no longer a reliable investment. That's exactly right. That's why he was forced out.
Though that Mate, I don't remember I don't think he told us to vote for Biden, but in the general election, he said he preferred Biden over Trump. So it's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, nobody's perfect, but he did get it right there at least. Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who's being considered for VP, by the way. Yeah. He says President Joe Biden is a patriot who served the country honorably. It's a senator, vice president, one of the most consequential presidents in modern history. Again, this same like fellatio rhetoric that all Democrats are giving. President Biden has gotten an incredible amount done to move our country forward. Which is it? I don't know, but defend our democracy and protect real freedom, whatever that means. I am proud to work by his side and as grateful for his leadership and unwavering commitment to delivering for Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth that raised him. Isn't he from Delaware? What the hell are you talking about? He's not from Pennsylvania.
No,
whatever.
He is Pennsylvania.
Was he born in Pennsylvania? But I know he spent most of his life in Delaware. So,
I don't know.
Thank you for everything, Mr. President. We will defeat Donald Trump in November.
No, you won't.
President Biden just sacrificed his own career for his country. Donald Trump would never do that. That's why Trump must lose. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. This is Ayanna Presley. Thank you for your dedicated service, President Joe Biden. And Kamala Harris, I am all in. Let's go.
I still can't get over Ayanna Presley's shaved head. It's still... I still can't get over that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Josh Shapiro is a PA guy, and he sucks. Our minimum wage is still $11.25. Yeah, I mean, which he was telling us about that last week. Let's see. Why do I hate Jews? I mean, I'm sure I'll be accused of anti-Semite at some point. Let's see. So... This is Ilhan Omar. Thank you, Mr. President. This was the president's decision to make, and I'm grateful for his years of service to our country. Thrilled to support Kamala Harris as our Democratic nominee and remain committed to working alongside her to defeat Donald Trump in November. So I'm guessing this is her daughter, with Kamala, blah, blah, blah. More of Maxwell here. I'm proud to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris to be president of the United States. Let's get to work to defeat fascism and Trump. Whatever. Well, this is embarrassing from Bernie and AOC. I mean, this is Klippenstein referring to the fact that they were
still not letting Kent go after what he did to Diarella Isabel.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bullshitter. But this is a little meme here.
Swing plant, I believe. About to get wet.
Little meme there, Let's see. She's Hillary's level of evil.
Yeah.
So this is I'm sure people have seen this. This is a picture of Kamala, but these are all the people that she's prosecuted and left in prison. So it's an actually very powerful thing. You actually see it like that. Yeah, they're all people of color. Yeah. And they're all pretty much, if you really do that, you could see they're.
I mean, why does she hate black people?
Yeah, but she's supposed to be the first black vice president, but but she hates black. And she does that to black people. All right. Simone Sanders says Joe Biden is a remarkably selfless man, and America is lucky to have him. More gaslighting, more.
He worked with Bernie Sanders in 2016 and then sold her soul for Biden.
Yes, no. Kane is a politician. He's the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. So if you didn't know that, I mean, he's out of WWE now. I know, Steph, that you were playing. I'm just. I just laughed it off. Why do I hate democracy? Because it sucks.
What democracy?
Yeah. Our U.S. democracy sucks, let's say.
Yeah.
Mitch Landrieu, I don't know who this is. Co-chair of Biden-Harris 2024, former mayor, lieutenant governor. Okay, so he's part of the campaign. I am proud to support Vice President Kamala Harris as the next Democratic nominee for president. The contrast in the number will be clear. A distinguished prosecutor versus a convicted felon. Again, they're going with prosecutor rhetoric. She will prosecute the case about the real risk of Donald Trump's chaos, division, greed, while offering an optimistic vision for the future, like Obama did. They're trying to remake Obama with her. Like, she's nowhere. She's not Obama.
And
she just isn't.
Just want to respond to Snow Himbo for a second. Just remember, Jesse Ventura was governor for Minnesota? Is that correct?
Yeah, so, 4 years.
And Linda McMahon was, or what was she in office? Or did
no, she ran for Senate twice in Connecticut and lost, but she worked in the Trump administration as a small business administration head. So she was in the administration, in Trump administration, I mean. And now she's openly asking for another job in the Trump administration because everybody expects him to win. So let's see. More importantly, she has what it takes to be president: steely resolve, unbridled determination, and compassion for helping others. She has been a partner in every big accomplishment in the Biden-Harris administration. Great, because if she wants to be an incumbent, I will treat her like the incumbent and blame her for everything.
Yeah.
From infrastructure to climate change to gun safety to defending our freedoms here around the globe. I am proud to be on her side. Let's go. Great, because now I get to blame her for everything.
And I just
all the problems. Yeah, go ahead.
Want to point out one other thing. Like, besides wrestlers running, for politics and all that stuff. I think I mentioned you guys before that I'm also a NASCAR fan. There's this former NASCAR Truck Series driver named I think his name is Austin Terrio. I think that's his name. I think that's his first name. He was a driver, and now I don't know if the race is still going on, but he was running for representative in Maine and was conservative and was also backing up Trump. So even NASCAR drivers, former NASCAR drivers, were getting in on the action.
Everyone's getting into politics these days. Yeah. But I mean, then now I'm going to treat Kamala like the incumbent. She wants to be the incumbent. She has like the vice president's podium when she speaks at campaign events. Okay, I'm gonna treat you like the incumbent. So whenever I don't want to hear from liberals, oh, it's not fair. She wasn't president. She was vice president. It's like, no, I mean, she wants to be the incumbent. She's using the vice presidential podium. She's she's trying to act like the Biden-Harris administration. Okay, great. Then I'm going to treat you like the incumbent.
Yeah.
And everybody should too when they're covering her. Benny G. Thompson, who's a congressman, I believe. Yeah. He says, I want to express my gratitude to President Biden for his lifelong dedication for improving America. While his decision to step down was undoubtedly challenging, I believe it was time for Democrats to unite and nominate Vice President Kamala Harris to lead forward. He's the same fellatio as usual. Gabrielle Giffords, she says, we all owe President Biden a debt of gratitude for steady leadership when our country needed it most. I would be forever grateful for his personal friendship to me as I was recovering. He was by my side when I returned to cast my first vote following the shooting, and I was proud to stand by his side throughout his presidency, when he did more to fight for gun violence than any other president in history, except for passing one bill. I don't know what bill that even is. His accomplishments will save lives for years to come. I am proud of my friend. So she has more to say in that press release, but I don't care enough to read it. Leah Greenberg, who is this? Co-executive director of an indivisible team. I guess she's some kind of liberal. We will elect a woman president. We will elect the first black woman president. We were going to elect the first South Asian woman president. We're going to beat Trump again. We're going to pass reproductive freedom, voting rights, and democracy reform, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
it's not about race, gender, and all that stuff. It's about if the person's the best qualified
Yes.
for the job.
Yes, but to the PMC class, it is. That's why they keep emphasizing that. So versus black woman, so she can't be black and South Asian at the same time.
Yeah.
Either she's South Asian or she's black. And you can't really have it both ways.
It just reminds me, when I supported Tulsi Gabbard in 2020, when Harris was in, everyone was praising her, person of color and all that stuff. But yeah, when you have Tulsi Gabbard, they always smeared her. They never mentioned her as powerful person of color and all that stuff. It was always the opposite.
Yeah, Hogan never held office, but now he's a Trumper. Did you see his speech at the convention? Hogan.
Yeah, of course I did.
He just went 1986 promo, and and everybody went nuts for him.
And when Savvy Saps posted that clip from Hogan, I responded by posting a pic of Hogan bloodied and down and beaten up. I don't know if you've seen it, but
yeah, he's like, "What you gonna do, brother, when Trumpomania comes and runs wild on you?" And then I'm like, yeah, it's nostalgic, and yeah, I grew up with Hogan and stuff, but
here we
that
go
was
again.
ridiculous.
Trump is too old to be president, but
Edward Lucci says
say it about Biden.
Trump is too old to be president. Just but 2 weeks ago, though, we were talking about how age doesn't matter and age is just a number, and Biden's aging like a fine wine. But now, since he's out, now they're going to switch talking points.
Oh yeah,
let's see. Liz Cheney now is here. She's the framers of our Constitution knew that our republic would only endure only if our presidents have the character of honor and put duty ahead of self-interest. President Biden deserves our gratitude for decades of service to our nation for his courageous decision today. Donald Trump's way too old to be president again. It's just the same talking points. The Trump team knew the switch was coming. Ad already ready. Kamala lied about Joe's fitness for office and has to own their failures. I think Trump beats Kamala worse than Biden. I actually agree with that. I think Kamala doesn't have much of a shot. So this is the ad Trump put out.
She covered up Joe's obvious mental.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, it's just so funny how conservatives sound more reasonable than liberals do. It's just, what world are we living in?
Yeah, so this is the ad that the Trump team put out immediately as soon as they found out Biden dropped out. So it's about Harris.
Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline.
Our president is in good shape, in good health, tireless, vibrant, and I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done.
But Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job, so she did it. Look what she got done. A border invasion, runaway inflation, the American dream dead. They created this mess. No, Kamala owns this failed record. Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
So that's the ad. No, it's not. Because if they're assuming that what the Trump campaign is trying to do is basically claim that Kamala is running the country, not Biden. So now he's gone. It was her. She did all this. Now she wants to be the incumbent. Great. Now she has to own all the Biden administration's horrible policies. All right, so the moment when Hogan and the RNC was a defining moment that everybody realized that we live in idiocracy. Yeah, I mentioned idiocracy yesterday when Politically Homeless while I was watching that. And yeah, we are idiocracy. When did Hogan first become famous? I'm sure I remember from the 80s. Yeah, it was 1984. He became WWF champion for the first time. And he's from the 80s, yeah. So he's still around trying to stay relevant, which is why he did the RNC. Yeah, Trump didn't do anything for American families. No, he didn't.
Yeah, we're not saying Trump is good either. We're just pointing out how everyone's saying, oh, Biden's the best. Oh, he's the opposite of Trump. No, they're all the same. That's all.
Yeah, Steph knows. It's just that, was a wise investment. This is when Donald Trump gave Kamala Harris $5,000 in 2011. Yeah, Trump openly admitted, I bought all these politicians. So, of course, he not shocking he gave her money, So, let's see. This is from President Barack Obama. Barack Obama says, Joe Biden has been one of America's most consequential presidents, as well as a dear friend and partner to me. Today, we have been reminded again that he is a patriot of the highest order. We will be blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read all this. This is Obama
Too long.
rhetoric. Yeah. And then I couldn't keep up Obama's accent anyways. I mean, but it's the same rhetoric as usual from Obama. Let's see. Breaking news: Jane Clyburn will endorse Harris. No shit. Lauren Boebert. Barack Obama. Lauren Boebert says they set Joe up before the debate even took place. They forced him to do more interviews in the past 3 weeks than he has in 48 years in office. Locking in the narrative, Joe puppet strings were slashed. I mean, again
a conservative sounding more reasonable than a
that's not a bad point. I mean, throughout his presidency, he did more interviews in the last month than he did throughout his entire presidency.
And none of his interviews helped him. No. He got worse and worse. Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Cory Bush is probably going to lose next month in her primary, but my statement on President Biden's decision to step down as a nominee endorsement of Kamala Harris for president.
Too long, didn't read.
This is a statement. Basically, she's giving fellatio to Joe Biden and endorsing Kamala Harris, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to actually for me to read it. Morgan Freeman again. Women will save democracy, whatever that means.
And you know that because?
Because, they say so. So this is a GOP ad.
Yeah.
Warning. The following may upset liberals who don't want voters to know the truth about Kamala Harris.
If you ever wondered how Joe Biden could get the border so screwed up, remember, he had help.
They're connecting Kamala to her. That's why this is actually good political strategy for Republicans.
Appointing Kamala Harris to be his border czar to deal with illegal immigration. And here are a record number of illegal immigrants, 10 million and counting, flooding over the border after Harris was put in charge of stopping illegal immigration. To be fair, Harris got off to a rough start by ignoring the border.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
No.
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border.
Oh,
so
no.
this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
By the way, this is what Kamala Harris is going to sound like when she's challenged.
Yeah.
Like this. She sounds like a total idiot. She's which is why they're going to be very careful about her campaigns and be careful about who interviews her and what questions they ask.
Yeah.
Because if this happened, this is exactly what's going to happen if she gets a tough question.
Been to Europe, and I don't understand the point that you're making.
Harris was liberal on illegal immigration before she ever reached the White House. As a prosecutor in San Francisco, Harris allowed illegal immigrant drug dealers to enter job training and have their criminal records wiped clean. One of the illegal immigrants Harris...
Wouldn't that be that she was conservative on illegal immigration? Wouldn't that be the correct?
If Republicans are going to say liberal. But illegal immigrant Harris released ran down a young woman.
Harris released went on to steal an SUV and ran down a young woman, seriously injuring her. And, of course, Harris backs sanctuary city laws that harbor illegal immigrants, even criminals. She even backs taxpayer-funded health care for illegals, record illegal immigration, special treatment for illegals, taxpayer-paid benefits. And Harris still doesn't get it.
I've been working on this issue for a very long time.
That's the truth about Kamala Harris. She's dangerously liberal on illegal immigration.
Liberal's not the right word to use.
She's dangerously liberal on immigration. Dangerously liberal.
They should have played when she said, "Do not come, do not come."
Snow says MAGA is currently saying she's a communist.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. I don't know if it was Trump who said it. I think it was Trump. He said that Kamala's a Marxist or whatever he said. I was like, God, here we go with that.
They interchange Marxists and communists all the time. They don't know what these words mean. They use them liberally, depending on what they feel like saying at that moment. Boebert Is she the one that messed up because who was messed up because of how a mom? No, I don't remember that story, Witchy. Maybe you can tell me at some point, but I don't know that story about Bobert's mom or something that happened with her. Let's see. Let's read Brian Stelter here. Historian Biden advisor Joe Meacham, speaking on MSNBC, urges viewers to take a moment and realize the magnitude of the decision that President Joe Biden made for the good of his country. This is another GOP ad here, or Trump ad.
The way that the president's demeanor in that report was characterized could not be more wrong on the facts.
If there was a problem,
I'm not lying.
do you think that you could go tell the American public?
There's no need for
That's
that.
in
I work
reference-
with Joe Biden every day.
That's in reference to the report, the special prosecutor, Andy Chow, and whatever his name was, when he said that Joe Biden wasn't mentally capable to be prosecuted or something for his crimes. So that's why that's in reference to that. She's like, oh no, that report was incorrect and wrong. You know, she's trying to defend the president, and now they're going to use it against her because she's a nominee now.
Yeah.
Joe Biden is going to be fine. We have a very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden. He is an extraordinary leader, and I wish that people could see what I see, because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election.
Look, if we finally beat
Medicare.
Let me answer the issue directly. I spend a lot of time with our president. We have a president in Joe Biden who is forward-thinking, but thank God our president is in good shape, in good health, and is ready to lead in our second term.
Anyway.
You know that when she's smiling.
That smile, she's nervous. She knows that she's lying, but it's like, Brooklyn Dad, I'm here. I'm bummed out about President Biden stepping aside, but excited to elect our first woman president of the United States. Let's go, Kamala. So here's Kennedy Jr. claiming that he only can beat Trump. Let's see.
Downs in 500 days. They created 500 new billionaires, and they shifted $4.3 trillion northward from the American middle class to this new aristocracy that we have. And it's destroying our country. We need a change. If people want more of the same, they can vote Democrat and they can vote Republican. The only way we're going to get a change in this country is if people come together behind the one candidate who is independent, who has vowed to have a unity government, to bring Republicans and Democrats and others all together in a way that finds common ground in our country. A candidate who's the only candidate who's pro-choice, who's pro-environment, who's pro-civil rights, and who beats Donald Trump by 14%. There is no other candidate who can beat Donald Trump. Look at all the polls that have been done over the last year. I beat Donald Trump, and nobody else can. Thank you very much.
So recent development is that
RFK Jr. is such a fraud.
recent development is allegedly RFK Jr. is looking to endorse Trump, but I think he wants some sort of job from him, so that's being, I'm sure, being negotiated right now. Snow Himbo says, I almost died laughing during that debate. Oh, that man, I was with you, Snow. I mean, it was like,
yeah, I was laughing too when I was watching my dad. I was just laughing pretty much the whole time. I just couldn't believe. That's why I wanted to watch the debate, to see how bad he was, and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah. This video reemerges of Judge Joe Brown destroying Kamala Harris. She used to be a frat whore when she was at Howard University, and she ain't black. This is an old clip of Judge Joe Brown. But
and you got Come Queenla Imhoff in there.
Come Queen.
You know who Imhoff is?
No.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mrs. Imhoff, Vice President of the United States, who goes by her maiden name.
Miss Kamala?
Kamala Harris.
Imhoff is her husband's last name, but she goes by her maiden name, yeah.
She's got 2 Jewish children she adopted. She married a Jewish husband who's got a interesting.
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'll let you have that one.
No, she's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top. They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She fucked damn near everybody trying to get fat hole when she was at Howard. And she ain't black.
Nope.
You know
I ain't got nothing to do with this, Miss Harris.
Nah, I mean, well,
no, it's
but she's
I don't know. I'm just listening.
Well, here's the thing. I actually met her father in Jamaica. I was the guest, said it to governor.
I wish I could get that.
And now you're going to hear white liberals saying that these two ain't black.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I wish that would continue because Joe Brown said, I met her father once, so, but yeah, I mean, that was hilarious. Let's see. We finally beat Medicare. I never forgot that moment during the debate. I was like, what?
I remember, I didn't hear him say that the first time because I was just laughing when he couldn't speak, when he's like, I had to find out on X that he had said we finally beat Medicare, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So this is a Face the Nation clip, looks like. This is funny because this is right before Joe Biden dropped out. He said that this is his campaign surrogate saying, no, Joe Biden isn't dropping out. Apparently, Joe Biden didn't tell this guy.
Congressman, we heard, as you know, before you, from two allies of Joe Biden who have now changed their position. And we now look at the tally of roughly 40 lawmakers who have called for Joe Biden to step aside. Clearly, leadership is setting up a permission structure for lawmakers to come out and say these things. Has Joe Biden lost control of the Democratic Party?
No, he's not. And he's heard those concerns. And I want to be crystal clear.
This is a few hours
he's made a
before
decision. And that decision is to accept the nomination and run for re-election, win re-election. And I think that there are those out there that need to hear it again, that he made a decision. He's going to be the candidate. He's going to be the next president. And now it's time to focus on the threat that Donald Trump poses and what the extreme agenda is on the other side.
The reason why I was laughing because he had to clear his throat before he was saying what he said.
This is a few hours later, he would drop out, but he didn't know. So I thought I would play this. Kamala Harris making headlines. He's a throwback of Tulsi Gabbard destroying Harris. So this is from 2020.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned.
Wait. Before, I want to acknowledge something here. Yes, I'm Jacqueline. Judge Joe Brown was a guest on Sabby's podcast recently. So that's the same Judge Joe Brown, by the way. So
concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
That's all true.
She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congressman. Senator Harris, your response?
And the crowd cheered, and that ended Kamala Harris's campaign.
I missed that Tulsi Gabbard. Oh man.
Unfortunately, she's pretty much a Republican these days, but at that time, it was brutal. And now she's again, just destroying, trying to oppose Kamala Harris from the right now, pretty much, instead of from the left. But so Ezra Klein says, an actual hero. This is what America First looks like.
And they were a hero for Ukraine and Israel, but not for
This is funny. It's a funny meme here. Biden age doesn't matter. Age is just a number. Then they take out Biden, put in Harris, click. Trump is too old.
Exactly.
That's I love that meme. Age is just a number. Brian Cohen Taylor says, I can't get over the dichotomy between Biden voluntarily ceding power in a selfless effort to protect democracy and Trump inciting insurrection and throwing the country into chaos to legally retain power for himself. Except he didn't do that. I'm Brian Cohen Taylor. Let's see. Ian Bremer says there are very few acts of selfishness and hatred, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Harris supported a law that forces schools to turn undocumented students to ICE, separating them from their parents. Okay, well, she's a horrible person. Let's see. Kamala barely won her race for Attorney General in California. Can somebody point a single instance of this amazing political shill she allegedly possesses? She nearly lost in California for Attorney General. Look at, by 100,000. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
By that much.
She's not a great politician.
No.
Blah, blah, blah. Ben Rhodes, again, more Galatio. I'm trying to skip ahead. Fiorella, this is a fantastic thread. I mean, that's why I wanted to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
For those who think, it's from 2019. For those who think Kamala is it because she gave a good speech through political manipulation that was clear as day, she would be somehow believed. Here, receipts of why doing anything other than exposing her record is a deterrent to the American people, especially POC persons of color. California Attorney General, she defended the State Department's state's death penalty laws. She argued to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn a lower court decision invalidating the state's death penalty. In 2015, she blocked gender reassignment surgery for a transgender prison inmate. Firm proponent of civil asset forfeiture even before charges were filed. So she was in favor of civil asset forfeiture. There. In 2010, judge declared that Harris had violated defendants' rights by hiding damaging information on a police lab technician. And judge said that she was indifferent to the demands that is account for its failings. So Kamala Harris hiding evidence, despite for over 1,000 violations of foreclosure laws by Mnuchin's bank, refused to prosecute One West and CEO Steve Mnuchin for criminal conduct. Mnuchin donated $2,000 to her Senate campaign, the only campaign which he donated to. Again, that's a big one because Steve Mnuchin went on to become Trump's Treasury Secretary. So she could have stopped that by, prosecuting him, but didn't because he gave $2,000 to her campaign. That's how the system works, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Easy for you to say, Angel. Yeah, I've been reading a lot in this episode, so I'm kind of struggling with, towards the end. As DA punished statewide law to charge parents of misdemeanors of children truancy, affecting low-income communities. Yeah, that's another big one. She laughed about it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, I think education is important. So I decided to put parents in jail.
He did the build more schools in prison. Build more schools in prison for whatever.
Resisted efforts to have an office investigate police killings. So she protected cops, of course. Opposed efforts to reform the 3 strikes policy disproportionately affecting black men. Worked to keep an innocent man in jail even after serving a decade in prison for a crime he didn't commit. That's another huge one. She purposely, kept the innocent man in prison when she knew he was innocent. Defended a prosecuting attorney who inserted a false confession into an interrogation transcript. Controversial because Backpage did have minors. It could have been seen as a good to take down the culprits. Went after Backpage, an online classified website used by sex workers, putting them in harm's way and challenging First Amendment free speech rights. Fought a Supreme Court ruling fighting to oppose release nonviolent offenders. When Supreme Court decided California overcrowded prisons represented a cruel and unusual punishment, Attorney General Kamala Harris fought a ruling ordering California to release some of its prisoners, refused to release nonviolent criminal offenders, referring to Governor Gary Brown as her client, refused to back marijuana legislation while jailing black men for it. Opposing police body camera and lied on debate forum in June 2019, saying she was in favor. Of course, she opposed body cameras. I remember that. And then lied about it when she was in the Senate. Of course, politician. Defended a murder conviction even though her office presented false testimony. Again, last night, the 2019 presidential debate, Kamala Harris talked about family separation at the border like she cared. but Kamala Harris supported 2008 San Francisco policy that reported arresting undocumented juveniles to ICE. And that's finally it, looks like. God, I mean, that's just, Kamala Harris is the worst.
I was just checking the Yankees Red Sox game. Yankees right now are losing 4-3. So,
yeah, they've been doing a lot of losing lately. So that's another thing that's triggering me. We got to get back together with Karen and stuff, do another baseball episode. MSNBC now says mispronouncing Kamala is a hate campaign. So this is the clip I think you were referring to.
Media that. And I've heard from inside Republican circles and right-wing media that the hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. You'll notice they purposefully pronounce her name wrong. They say Kamala. They do it all the time. It is on purpose. But the talk is to start that hate campaign and get it going and start it churning.
Okay, so now it's hate speech to mispronounce their name. But I'm guessing Kamala is the right way to pronounce it, not Kamala. But it's a hate campaign, obviously. This is what it looks like when you put your own ego aside for the good of the country, blah, 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 whatever. Now we get more fellatio from the party now. Thank you, President Biden. Just a little clip there.
Yeah, thank you for ruining the country, jackass.
Yeah, historic presidency. More fellatio, more gaslighting. Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, says, proud to join Morning Joe to announce my full support for our next POTUS, Kamala Harris. She's an incredibly tough and smart with the compassion and empathy to be a phenomenal president. She will bring our country together and move us past the anger politics we've seen in recent years. So 3 Democratic state parties, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, are officially pledging the delegates to Vice President Kamala Harris. We don't need to really watch that. Let's see. Kamala Harris is moral and empathetic, blah, blah, blah. I endorse her to be the president, whatever. Let's see what she has to say.
First and foremost, I just want to take a moment to thank President Biden. Joe Biden has dedicated more than 50 years of service to our nation as a senator, a vice president, and as the 46th president of the United States. And the Biden-Harris White House, I've worked very closely with them. They've been engaged partners who've made real progress for our communities. And I'm deeply grateful for the president's service. I know this is not a decision that he arrives at lightly. I think it's important to hold space for that. And I respect his decision to pass the torch. And I vigorously endorse Kamala Harris. She is a moral and empathetic leader. She is poised, she is prepared, and she is qualified. I'm the chair.
Qualified for what?
Not
to be president.
Hillary, too.
It's the same talking point. She's qualified. And I'm like, by that logic, that means that you should support Donald Trump. He was actually president. She wasn't. So, it's ridiculous. It's just... Joe Biden is a national hero, says Sarah here, the CEO of Longwell Partners.
She works for the GOP, or the GOP company. Here we go.
So Fiorella again makes the points, better than I could. U.S. progressives are an absolute embarrassment. Liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter. The majority view of U.S. pundits is not rooted in reality, but in blissful ignorance of a world of never being on the receiving end of a death cult that we export to the world. Again, that's well said.
Play that Kyle clip.
Yeah. The dream team ticket for Kyle Kalinske. So let's see. Haven't seen him in a while, but I've seen this.
I think Kamala is way better positioned than Biden, but I do also think she's the second weakest option, right? So ideally, at this point, I would like to see more of an open convention. I would like people like J.B. Pritzker and Josh Shapiro and Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom and all these people to throw their hat in the ring and to figure it out that way. I think the safest ticket you can get is a generic Democrat ticket where there's not much dirt on them. Trump doesn't have much he could throw at them, and they're just generic Democrats because all the polling shows that a generic Democrat is 6 points up on Trump in a general election.
How could you say that Kamala is in a way better position than Biden, but then the second weakest? Like, how does that make sense?
It doesn't. I think Kyle's kind of desperate here to, he's kind of desperate. It's Kuklinski here, the nice little property he has there, actually it's Crystal Ball's property, but nice property there. So his dream ticket is J.B. Pritzker or Josh Shapiro, or Gretchen Whitmer, or Gavin Newsom.
And it's funny. because I remember remember he was praising Newsom months ago, and then when Newsom did something bad recently, not too long afterwards, he's like, now Gavin Newsom's back to being a stupid greasy son of a bitch or whatever. But he still supports him apparently. I guess I don't know.
He depends of what he's talking about at that moment. So this is Harris's campaign has requested vetting materials from potential VPs, including Cooper of North Carolina, Kelly of Arizona, Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Whitmer of Michigan, Walz of Minnesota, and Pritzker of Illinois. So these are her finalists for VP pick. So there's all governors, or I think Mark Kelly's a senator, but the rest of them are governors of their states. So here comes Kyle Kalinske, who has a man crush on Tim Walz from Minnesota for some reason. But let's see what he says. Tim Walz is by far the most base Democratic governor in the country. Again, he sounds like a teenager. With a one-seat majority in Minnesota, he did universal free meals, legal weed, carbon-free electricity by 2040, tax rebates for the working class up to $1,300 a year, 12 weeks of paid leave, family leave, 12 weeks paid sick leave, ban conversion therapy, red flag gun laws, universal background checks for guns, automatic voter registration, free public college, ban on PFAS, $2.2 billion increase in K-12 school funding, sectoral bargaining for nursing work sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers.
Where's Medicare for all? Where's being against the wars? Where's
Nothing.
The minimum wage? Where's all that you champion for? Now you're just not mentioning that stuff anymore.
Yeah, Kyle loves. He loves all. These are just generic Democrats. Hey, Kyle, if you love Shapiro so much, you should come work in Pennsylvania for $7.25. Yeah, I mean, because Shapiro, I'm going to raise the minimum wage, and he didn't. So this is polling, balance of powers. So this is, I agree with most of it, because I wanted to do my map, but I'm probably, let me see, I might have time for it. So this is the map that it looks like right now, and Georgia's going to go red most likely. Pennsylvania will go red. Michigan is kind of a toss-up. Arizona's leading red, and Nevada's leading red. So it looks like a crushing victory for Trump, and these polls hold. Right now, these polls from the 22nd, from a few days ago. Let's see. Oh, hypocrisy from Harry Sisson. Yes, Joe Biden's old, but his age is not affecting his ability to lead at all. A few days later, Donald Trump is too old to be president. He's 78. I don't think he'll be able to serve effectively for 4 years. I'm sure MAGA would agree with this assessment, right? I mean, just blatant hypocrisy from that. Let's see. So I wanted to play this. Gerald Ford made this prediction about a female president in 1989. So it won't happen in normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president. And the woman and man will win. So you wind up with a president and a male and a vice president female in that term of office of the president. The president will die and the woman will become president. Once that barrier is broken from then on, men better be careful because they would have a hard time ever even getting a nomination in the future. So Gerald Ford pretty much nailed it except for Joe Biden dying. I mean, that hasn't happened yet, but everything else he said came to pass pretty much. Yeah. So I'm not going to play the video because that's pretty much what it said. But now liberals are trying to deny the fact that Joe Biden appointed Kamala Harris to be his border czar in the first 100 days. That's now a new one.
Yeah.
So the Trump campaign and Republicans have tagged Harris repeatedly with the border czar title, which he actually never had, which Axios did report that he did have. And that's a motorcycle, and I'm sorry about that. I don't think I can do it.
I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help us. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks.
I can't understand what he said there either.
Anyways.
See, this is the Axio piece itself.
Yeah.
This is the one they wrote initially. the number of unaccompanied minors, blah, blah, blah. Harris, appointed by Biden as border czar, they wrote it at the time, said that she'd be looking into the root causes that drive immigration. So in other words, they did report it that way. This is the Netanyahu thing. But I just want to play one more clip. I mean, I'm running out of time here. But let's see. It's a certain... Bear with me 1 second. Hold on. Is it this one? No. So there's still... Let's see. Where is that? I know that it must be up here somewhere. Because I bookmarked so many things that finding it is difficult. No, not that. Yeah, I mean, it's... let's see. Where is it? Kamala Harris is on TikTok now.
Yeah, who cares?
Which is another... Apparently, they made a big deal out of that she was on TikTok. Here it is. Yeah, so this is the one I'm looking for. But yeah, she's on TikTok now. And people are excited about that, apparently. But this is hypocrisy. This is a compilation of the media...
Quote,
reporting
unquote.
that she wasn't a border czar and then turning around and playing the clip of when they said, oh, yeah, she's the border czar. So this is kind of like trying to rewrite history. They did it with Biden in 2020 when they all admitted that Biden was mentally declining, but as soon as he's the nominee, all of a sudden that was gone and he was great mentally. So this is kind of the same thing here. They're rewriting history.
Quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People are going to have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of...
No, that's what you labeled her as a media. Yeah. Now when you realize it's a horrible political thing, now you're turning around like, oh, no, but she wasn't really the border czar.
Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
So, yeah, the media is trying to rewrite history. The media is trying to rewrite history as, Joe Biden is like, no, but she wasn't because the reason why she became the border czar is they needed her to have some sort of experience so she can run in 4 years or 8 years. So they gave her this border czar title, which was meaningless, but they gave it to her and she has to have some sort of experience, in order to become president. Now they realize how politically horrible that is for her. So they turn around and say, but she was never the border czar. Ignore what we said 4 years ago. But she never was the border czar. They're desperately trying to, defend her and make sure that she doesn't, that Trump can't use it against her, even though they will use it against her and it will cost her everything. But yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say. It's almost 9, so I do have to wrap up. But yeah, I mean, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Tomorrow we're doing pro wrestling talk, and we will have Snow Himbo on at 8 o'clock. So look forward to that tomorrow night. I'm hoping to get Karen on next week. Haven't heard from her yet, so we'll see. And then on August 11th, Angel in the Afternoon, we'll be having Kit Cabello on of Hard Lens Media, and we'll be talking and previewing the DNC convention in Chicago.
I might want to get on for that episode. It'd be cool to talk to Kit.
Well, I'll talk to him, and if he says it's fine, then I'll definitely send you a link.
But you mentioned you might want to get Karen on next week. Talking about baseball or what?
Yeah, that'll probably be a political episode, but we definitely have to get back together for baseball because I have plenty to say of the Yankees and how awful they've been ever since we talked last. I mean, my God, have they been brutal?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been brutal.
And we got to
But
talk about GTA 6 again, or video games in general.
Oh yeah, I mean we will definitely have to discuss a time how to be a Sunday episode. My appearance with Kid is going to be August 11th, which is a Sunday at 7, because if his Fridays are kind of busy, obviously. So I reached out to him now because I wanted to talk about the convention, which takes place in his hometown of Chicago. So we'll definitely preview that then. So we got a lot to look forward to here. Yeah. Tomorrow we have Snow for sure. I mean, for Pro Wrestling Talk, where we will be discussing wrestling, obviously, and we'll be doing that on Saturday. Next week, I'm hoping to have Karen on. The week after that is going to be August 11th, which I'm hoping to have Kid Cabello on, which he's definitely said he is coming on, but stuff happens. 8 o'clock, Pro Wrestling Talk. Look forward to that tomorrow night. But other than that, I want to thank Alex for taking the time, and I want to thank you guys for watching with me. Please make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, share it out, and I'm going to see you guys next Friday and tomorrow night for Pro Wrestling Talks.